There will be a massive relegation showdown in Jerusalem. The runaway league leaders finally return, and the Reggae Boyz are all set for a new tournament in England. All this and more on this Match Week 33 preview show. Yes, people, welcome back to Jamaica Fan. It's been some time since I did a preview show, but I can't wait to speak about this weekend fixtures, starting with a real relegation 6-pointer. Molynes United versus Humble Lion. Back on January 27th, Molynes defeated the Humble Lion 2-1 thanks to goals from Roshane Livingston, Arnett Thompson own goal, and looked fairly comfortable in the standings. Since then, they only won one game in 12 matches and now find themselves in the relegation zone, leapfrog by that very same team, making their next game against the Lions a must-win. But it won't be easy as the team is coming off back-to-back drummings and will face a team high in confidence after their massive win versus the Cavalier in midweek. To make matters worse for United, they have seen their goal production massively drop these past weeks, with star strikers Peter McGregor and Jason Wright not finding net as often as coach Jermaine Thomas would like. While the Lions have a striker in Stevie Barnett that can't stop scoring and a goalkeeper in Glenroy Samuels who has been on fire in keeping them out. But the Lions aren't the best travelling team, so this relegation battle will hang in the balance when Molynes United take on Humble Lion this Sunday at Waterhouse Mini Stadium. Racing versus Vere United. Speaking of teams in relegation, Vere has an even tougher climb to make being at the foot of the table. A goalless stalemate against Dunboyne in their last match stopped a 3-game losing streak, but with only one win in their last 16 games, nothing but 3 points would be acceptable this weekend. They will have some firepower back up front to aid in this mission, as Kevin Atkinson should be clear to play since his red card versus Waterhouse a few weeks ago. They should also be encouraged by the lackluster performance of their opponents, Racing, in their last match against Tivoli Gardens. Racing lost that match after sitting out a couple of matches due to fixture postponements and looked very rusty. Their usual fluent chemistry on the ball looked a shadow of itself as they tried to get back to the form that poured them into 6th in the table before their break. What made things even more concerning is that influential captain Markovich Brown might be out after leaving the Tivoli match early due to injury. As for their last meeting, Racing smacked Vere for 3, and another result like that would plunder the Clarendon-based club further into relegation depths. So it should be a fun watch when Racing United hosts Vere Phoenix United this Sunday at Fernita Park. Mount Pleasant versus Tivoli Gardens. Racing had been displaced in the 6th spot by a team that last beat them. Tivoli's recent great run of form at the Edward Siaga complex, as well as their ability to grind out results on the road, have got them into touching distance of the postseason. The form of Lennox Russell and Anthony Nelson has been instrumental to the recent results, but it's the continued amazing season of Nicalia Fuller that makes this unit a feared one. You can stop Tivoli in open play, but with free kicks close to the goal will always be a weapon once Fuller is playing. But he and his teammates will surely be tested this Sunday when they travel north to Draxall to face the most feared team in the league. Mount Pleasant has been so destructive this season, they still remain 3 points in first place despite not playing for 2 weeks. But that extra time off might be a hindrance as seen with Racing and Cavalier. They may be lacking that extra match polish when an informed Tivoli comes into town. Their previous 2 meetings this season ended 1-0 to Mount Pleasant, so at least Tivoli has always been competitive. We should also add the fact that they never looked their sharpest in their last match before the hiatus in a 1-0 defeat to Portmore, so I am unsure what Mount Pleasant will turn up this weekend. Regardless, I fully expect an entertaining match when Mount Pleasant hosts Tivoli Gardens this Sunday. Montego Bay United versus Portmore United. Now, Portmore pulled off a big win versus Mount Pleasant some time ago to only follow it up with a shocking 1-0 loss to the Maroons. It's their season in a nutshell really, a very good team that struggled to score, but because of their stellar defense, is a match for anyone in the league. They are fully deserving of being in 4th in the table, but unless one of their strikers turn to prime Haaland, I don't see a championship at Fernita Park this year. but I do see them being a massive thorn in the side for the other big teams, starting with Molynes United this weekend. Mobe had a small blip in the goal scoring department after new coach Paul Tika Davis arrival earlier this year, but after smashing Molynes for 5 and Brian Brown returning, there are signs that they are now finally getting to grips with Coach Davis' ways of doing things. The only drawback at the moment is the injury to star striker Shane Thomas, but at least they should also have Demario Phillips, Chubingham and Hospitales available after their return from international duties. As for their head-to-head records, Mobe have not lost to Portmore in 10 matches, including their double draw with them this season. Here's hoping for an exciting encounter when Molynes United hosts Portmore United this Sunday. Dumbo versus Harbour View. Dumbo currently sits 9th in the table on 33 points, a full 5 points from the drop zone with 7 games remaining, so not exactly safe yet, but their recent performances would have you think otherwise. Before their recent draw with Veer, Dumbo were on a 4-game losing streak and looking a bit too comfortable despite their current predicament. Even the Dumbo Sports Complex no longer feels like an unbeatable stronghold like it did earlier in the season. All of this is music to the ears of the one of the few teams still chasing them, Harbour View. Their great results and forms since the January transfer market has vanished with only 1 win in their last 7. Part of the problem is their lack of goals after they only scored 5 goals during that run and 3 of those came in 1 match against Chapelton Maroons. But I would argue they aren't really playing badly, but defensive errors, some bad luck, and again the lack of goal scoring has dragged them back towards relegation. This is simply a match they can't afford to drop points as the relegation war heats up. In their last meeting, the Stars of the East dismantled Dumbo 4-1, so the home team may be extra motivated as they seek revenge this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. at Dumbo Sports Complex. Chapelton Maroons versus Waterhouse. Coach Marcel Gale would tell us all we just needed to be a little patient as his young, newly revamped Waterhouse team is finally finding the results. Waterhouse are currently on a 2-game winning run, and while that doesn't sound like much, it's a big turnaround after they only won 1 game in the previous 10 matches and slipped out of the playoff spot. It's a great fight back, especially for a team that has been accused of lacking effort in many matches this season. But a cynical person would rain on this parade and remind you that those 2 wins came against teams in the relegation battle. And this weekend, they will face another. Chapelton Maroons will welcome their visit to the Anthony Sporting Complex. The Maroons should also be brimming with joy after back-to-back wins of their very own, including a very impressive 1-0 win away to Portmore. New coach Vassal Reynolds have solved the defensive shape, but goal scoring is still a problem after only having 1 multi-goal match in 11 games. As for the head-to-head records this season, the Maroons are actually unbeaten versus Firehouse after a 1-1 draw in October and a 3-0 victory in January. It's a battle of informed teams when Chapelton Maroons takes on Waterhouse this Monday at 5 p.m. Arnett Gardens versus Cavalier. Cavalier finally returned to JPL action this past Thursday and they got a rude welcome back from the Lions. Coach Rudolph Speed has spoken on numerous occasions this season about unfair fixture congestion, and even he would admit that his team was on a break a little bit longer than he would have had wanted. They were without some of their international stars like Kin and Stein, but they should have everyone ready and available for this weekend's big clash with Arnett Gardens. The Junglers are currently on a superb form, going 13 matches without tasting defeat, and Cavalier should also expect a raucous home crowd in the jungle, as I am sure there will be a large crowd there to greet their new Reggae Boyz hometown hero, Warner Brown, on his return. Luckily for Speed's team, they have a very good recent record in Arnett with a 7-game undefeated record against the Junglers. Cavalier dropped majority of their points this season to teams in the lower half of the table, indicating to me that they normally step things up for the big matches. I'm fully expecting a cracking game this Monday night when Arnett Gardens hosts Cavalier at 7:45 p.m. So that's it for the weekend preview, but before my predictions, let's look at this weekend's news. Fresh off qualifying for the summer's Gold Cup, the Reggae Boyz will play in another international tournament in preparation for the World Cup qualifiers. Jamaica accepted an invite to be a part of the Unity Cup, a 4-team tournament held in England and includes African powerhouses Ghana and Nigeria along with eternal rival Trinidad. No word yet on the exact dates for the matches, but report states that the tournament will commence in mid-May. The Reggae Girls are also gearing up for World Cup qualifying and they will play Mexico in 2 friendlies in preparation in April. Here is the official squad chosen for those matches here on the screen. And finally, the PFJL will not have a new chairman as Chris Williams retained his seat after gaining majority of the votes at a recent AGM. For more information and details from the AGM, please check out my colleague's BAM Sports video as seen on screen. Alright, that's it for the news. Now for the fun part, the predictions. Alright, Molynes versus Humble Line. This is a bit tricky, but you would like to believe that Humble Line are on the better form, and I'm thinking they edge this one 1-0 against Molynes in Jerusalem. Racing versus Veer. Racing looked very rusty in their game against Tivoli last time out, but Veer has not looked anything of a team lately, so I'm thinking Racing will win this one 2-0 over Veer. More Pleasant versus Tivoli Guns. As I said, More Pleasant are going to be a bit, slightly rusty after being out for a couple of weeks, while Tivoli are really on form. But I think this time it will be a 1-1 draw at Jacks Hall. Montego Bay United versus Portmore United. Honestly, this is screaming like it's going to be a Mobe victory, but only just. I'm thinking Mobe win this one 1-0 at Catherine Hall. Dumbo Holding versus Harbour View. Last time they beat at the Dumbo Holding Sports Complex, it took a goalkeeper error for Dumbo Holding to get the 1-0 victory. And that might be the case again here, but I also expect Harbour View to finally score, so I think it's Dumbo Holding 1, Harbour View 1. Alright, Chapelton versus Waterhouse. This one is probably the toughest one to call, honestly. Chapelton are not letting a lot of goals at the moment, while Waterhouse may have found their firepower again after the form of Javane Bryan and Andre Fletcher. I will say this one might end up being Chapelton Maroons 1, Waterhouse 1. Though the final one, Arnett Gardens versus Cavalier. Each time these two teams meet, it's a very open game and I expect the same again. Last time it was 2-2, so I'm going to be on the safe betting man and say once again it would end Arnett 2, Cavalier 2. But anyway, that is all I got here on this week preview show. Thank you all for watching, and please like, subscribe and share as I look to keep you up to date on all things in the Jamaica Premier League leading up to the final in May. But also remember to drop in the comment section your predictions for the results this weekend. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place. JPL Fun. YouTube, big up yourself.